You don't know shit about boxing.
Hi there, I'm Danny Flexon and welcome to episode 21 of You Don't Know Shit About Boxing, a podcast brought to you by the team behind SecondsOut. And yes, that's right, we've turned 21. So for our American audience, we can now start drinking. And we have since 2 o'clock. No, I'm joking.
I mean,
Georgia might have.
you caught me out there.
Yeah. It's the flask under the table.
Under my hoodie, yeah.
And I should say, welcome to my splendiferous, I don't even know if that's a real word, co-host, Miss Georgia
Well, I'll
Banks.
take it anyway. Thank you. Happy New Year. It feels a bit late in the month to be saying Happy New Year, but
Yeah, I
Here I am.
think there's a big thing on Larry David, what is it, Curb Your Enthusiasm, about how much you can Happy New Year people. I think it's acceptable up until the end of January, and then you've just got to, even if you haven't seen them since the start of the year, you've got to stop.
I don't see many people a lot of the time, so I might just continue it every time I go out.
We could do a whole podcast just about that. But before we do, this week we're going to be talking about the 175-pound division, light heavyweight for the more traditional among you. And we're also going to be talking about this weekend's big fights. But before we do all of that, let's welcome our very special guest. This was podcast number 3, didn't you?
Yeah, I did one for like my local mosque. They have like a podcast, so I did that, and then there was another one. I forgot, man. My memory's getting worse and worse.
Can't have been that good then, that's all right. Yeah, welcome.
Yeah.
It's great time to have you on the show as well, because you're on the form of your life. I mean, you've never been beaten, so you've always been on the form of your life, but you're British champion. You've won Southern Area.
Yep.
You've won English. I mean, you know all this. Just telling you. And if you get eventually to a world title, we talked about this when we did an interview before, you'll be the first British fighter in history to have ticked every box on the way up.
Exactly.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
No, it is. So that's one of my drives, just no one's done it before. So, that's what we're working towards. But, step by step, next titles, European. So fingers crossed we get that. And then,
Christoph 4, I believe. I probably pronounced it wrong. You were telling me off camera how to pronounce Beterbiev.
Yeah.
How'd you pronounce the French guy's surname?
I don't know, Thomas Frou or something.
Frou.
Yeah.
He's a good looking lad.
I mean, something along those lines.
Did you just go a little bit Geordie?
I don't know, maybe. True Geordie, not true Geordie. I'm false Geordie. So yeah, what's he like? Have you seen much of him?
I haven't, I've seen like maybe one fight of his, but I don't like to watch like my opponents too much. I might watch a round or two because they might be different on the night and whatnot. But yeah, I take every fight serious, regardless of record or whatever, whether I'm the favourite or underdog. So yeah, I just want to make sure I get that title. So yeah, that's what I'm focused on.
Go on.
Sorry, do you always not watch your opponents?
No, I do. I've done it before where I've watched them a lot, like really, really watched them. Actually, the Reece Cartwright fight last year, that was a last minute of change of opponent, but the night before. So imagine I was meant to fight someone and then they changed it on the Thursday, so just before weigh-in. So all Thursday night before the weigh-in, I was just watching his fight. I was like, yeah, all right, like this is a bit of me. Like I was watching. Who
was it? Who was it supposed to be?
Matthew Tinker.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I remember.
The medical. Yeah. So last minute, big.
And you'd fought him in the amateurs, hadn't you, Tinker?
No, yes, I had. Yeah. He beat me in the amateurs, so I really wanted to get my revenge back.
Yeah, I was at the presser, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's all coming back to me.
Yeah, so obviously that fell through, and then Reece was there. But I was just watching his fight, and then I thought, yeah, this is a bit of me. I'm gonna do this, but then when it actually came to the fight, he was totally.
You said this was podcast number 3, didn't you?
Yeah, I did one for like my local mosque. They have like a podcast, so I did that, and then there was another one. I forgot, man. My memory's getting worse and worse.
Can't have been that good then, that's all right. Yeah, welcome.
Yeah.
It's great time to have you on the show as well, because you're on the form of your life. I mean, you've never been beaten, so you've always been on the form of your life, but you're British champion. You've won Southern Area.
Yep.
You've won English. I mean, you know all this. Just telling you, And if you get eventually to a world title, we talked about this when we did an interview before, you'll be the first British fighter in history to have ticked every box on the way up.
Exactly.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
No, it is. So that's one of my drives, just no one's done it before. So, that's what we're working towards. But, step by step, next titles, European. So fingers crossed we get that, and then yeah.
Christoph 4, I believe. I probably pronounced it wrong. You were telling me off camera how to pronounce Beterbiev.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce the French guy's surname?
I don't know, Thomas Frour or something.
Frour.
Yeah.
He's good looking, lad.
I mean, something along those lines.
Did you just go a little bit Geordie?
I don't know, maybe. True Geordie, not true Geordie. I'm false Geordie.
Yeah,
So yeah, what's he like? Have you seen much of him?
I haven't, I've seen like maybe one fight of his, but I don't like to watch like my opponents too much. I might watch a round or two because they might be different on the night and whatnot. But yeah, I take every fight serious, regardless of record or whatever, whether I'm the favourite or underdog. So yeah, I just want to make sure I get that title. So yeah, that's what I'm focusing on.
Go on.
Sorry, do you always not watch your opponents?
No, I do. I've done it before where I've watched them a lot, like really watched them. Actually, the Reece Cartwright fight last year, that was a last minute of change of opponent, but the night before. So imagine I was meant to fight someone and then they changed it on the Thursday, so just before weigh-in. So all Thursday night before the weigh-in, I was just watching his fight. I was like, yeah, all right, like this is a bit of me. Like I was watching. Who
was it? Who was it supposed to be?
Matthew Tinker.
Oh yeah, of course.
I
I remember.
The medical. Yeah. So last minute,
and you'd fought him in the amateurs, hadn't you, Tinker?
No, yes, I had. Yeah. He beat me in the amateurs, so I really wanted to get my revenge back.
Yeah, I was at the presser.
Oh yeah. No, it's all coming back to me.
Yeah. So obviously that fell through, and then Reece was there. But I was just watching his fight, and then I thought, yeah, this is a bit of me. I'm gonna do this, but then when it actually came to the fight, he was totally different from what I'd been watching, and it kind of threw me off. So that was a lesson, like just be prepared for everything, and don't expect your opponent to be like whatever you've seen them to be. So yeah.
And you talked about being the underdog and being the favourite. A lot of your fights people have perceived to be 50-50. You've made them look anything but in the ring.
Yeah.
How does it feel now, knowing that most people expect you to win these fights? Certainly the last couple and probably the European title fight as well.
I don't really let that get to my head, man, because I'm a fan of boxing as well. So I've watched like in history, like, when the supposed favourite goes in there and everyone expects him to do the business, and then it's a, total different story. So I never want to be that kind of, I don't want to be in that situation. So regardless of whether I'm the favourite or the, underdog, head's screwed up. Sorry.
So rude. You see, comes in here.
Sorry.
We're definitely keeping this in as well.
Sorry about that. I thought that was, I'll be honest, I thought that was you. I thought that was your phone. I was about to tell you off. What's going on? Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Tell him off.
Just make sure I put them on silent.
He's also not going to feel the
Sorry
benefit
about
when he goes out.
Who was it? Come on, tell us. Out them.
I haven't even
How
looked.
dare you
I'll
ruin
call
our
him back and put it on
podcast?
loudspeaker.
Who was it? It is Jalil from Africana Restaurant. Probably thinks I'm coming down later on.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You're already planning your dinner and everything.
Yeah, I haven't eaten all day, man. I just came back from training and then straight to you, though.
Oh, we should have provided you with food. I feel bad now.
Man, it's all right.
Good.
Yeah.
Because it's a bit late to do it now.
No, it's cool. So, yeah.
So you recently, not shook up's the wrong word, but you added to your training team. Just tell us why you came to that decision and what the benefits of it are so far.
Yeah, obviously I've added Buddy McGirt, Hall of Famer trainer, two-time world champion, to my team. And do you know what? I've been speaking to Buddy like on socials like around 2019. So after I won the English title, I was like, yeah, when I come out, let's like hook up and whatnot. But then obviously the pandemic happened, so obviously that I didn't get to see him until probably I think 2021 or something, or 2022 maybe, I can't remember. But yeah, I just again, I'm a fan of boxing, so I watch a lot of boxing, and I just like the way, something about Buddy when he's in a corner, like, do you know what I mean? Like the way he communicates to his boxers, and he's a knowledgeable, anyone can see he's a knowledgeable person. So I just thought, to get to that next step, why not like just, add someone of his caliber to the team. So yeah.
And what's he kind of seen in you so far? Not the positives, obviously. He's obviously seen a lot in you or he wouldn't be working with you. But what's he picked out that he wants to improve on?
Mainly a lot of just thinking, being a thinking fighter like me. I'm not gonna lie, I just get in there and look, I just don't care, like I just want to, but he likes that about me, like, that he thinks I'm very tough and not just physically, like mentally as well, like he really, really thinks, and he said that's a key thing to get you to that world level, like, that's a very key, it's a key aspect that boxers need. And he said, yeah, you've got that, we just need to like add a few other little bits and pieces, and yeah, you'll be on your way. So he's not someone, he don't just work with anybody. So I'm quite pleased that he's decided to help me out and join the team.
And is it always you going over to the US, or is he going to be coming here? What's the plan?
Yeah, my last fight, he was here. I've gone over there twice. I think I'm going to go there again for a few weeks, and then he'll come back here. So we'll just chop and change it, see what's best. But I'm happy to be going there now. It's bloody freezing now. So yeah, I get some sun,
What do you mean? You're always on holiday?
No.
You're always away.
It seems like I'm on holiday, but I'm doing work.
Yeah, sure. Where were you? I can't remember how long it was. Monaco?
Monaco? No, I didn't go to Monaco.
Somewhere, it began with an M and it's bougie, see?
Yes, yeah. Montreal.
One's in France, one's in Canada.
And they both begin with M.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I was in.
Oh, that was when you sparred Mr. Beterbiev.
There we go. Yeah, please. I don't want him to watch this and be like, so you couldn't even like
educate
the host. But yeah, I was out there sparring him, getting him prepared for Joe Smith. So yeah, that was a real good experience and a funny one as well.
Why was it funny? You got to tell us now.
Just the whole experience, man. Like,
How's his English? How's your Russian?
No, I definitely don't speak Russian, but his English isn't bad. It's I think he goes like, I think he goes school like to learn English, or it's either English or what do they speak in Canada?
French or English.
Yeah, so I think he goes to school to like pick up on his French and stuff like that.
Yeah, because there's a lot of French speaking in Montreal, isn't there? I believe.
Yeah,
Quebec.
So, it's decent, man. But yeah, like, on the outside, you see him, he's got the stern face, he looks like but he's actually a funny character. Like, he's the type who'll make a joke and he'll just keep his face straight. Start laughing, like, do you know what I mean?
That's like a mafia boss.
Yeah. There was one time, like, I remember all the sparring partners, we were all like huddled up, like, like plotting like how we're gonna just defeat him, like the boss, like, do you know what I mean? And then like, I'm like to Bolotnik, so Bolotnik, you're in first year, so the first couple of rounds, like, get him to the body. So when I get in, all right, I'm gonna be able to like just move and it was proper hilarious. Then he just comes over and goes, oh, you guys are planning against me. Okay. Azeez, you're the boss. You're the
ringleader.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, nah, it's him. And then everyone's trying to pass it. Oh, no, it's it. Oh, it was hilarious. Then, we just go in there, we do our work. And yeah.
Did it work? This group effort?
Do you know what? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, it depends who, like, sometimes, like, you'll get one of the sparring partners who just trying to survive. So they don't even, imagine like a game and then you've got the energy bar, like, so we're trying to get that energy bar all the way. Then you get someone who, all they do, they just run. So his energy bar is all the way up. So the next sparring partner, you've basically got a fresh alpha, do you know what I mean? So that person comes out, and whoever's going in is just like, oh, blood, like, you're just useless, like, and that's what like the vibe of the whole camp is. Like, it's funny, like, it's, even though like it's serious, but we're all like a family and we're all like, here for the purpose of Arthur to make sure he wins, and that means us really going at him, even though we're friendly and whatnot. We're not there on a joke. Like, they want us to really go at him. So. Yeah.
Because you were talking about video games and him being the boss, I was thinking of Zangief, because he was the Russian boss in Street Fighter.
Oh, see,
but he was rubbish.
Oh, okay.
Zangief, like, no one ever picked Zangief when you're in the arcade or on the Super Nintendo or whatever. He was a wrestler. He was like a big, muscly wrestler, and it took ages to get any of his movesets off and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Awful. Just saying. Childhood trauma coming back.
I was just thinking of The Sims, so it shows how far apart we are.
Don't worry, I'm old. I used to bang out The Sims as well, like with my brothers and sisters. Like, we used to all have characters, make them get married and it. So don't worry, I'm
Did you ever used to make people that you knew, and then if you fell out with them, you'd make a little wall around them and take the door off. or get them to go.
You don't have to say yes if you didn't, just to be nice.
Or you'd make them swim in the pool and take the ladder out.
They can't eat and everything.
Yeah.
And like literally,
They start rocking the
This is
ball.
like terrible.
And they just
Grim
stare
Reaper
at it.
turns up.
It's basically like war tactics.
Yeah.
Starving the village.
Don't worry, we used to do all of that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Sims was hilarious.
You guys are like psychopaths.
Or you put them
from
in
a
the
young
pool and then
age,
you
or
take the
something.
ladder out so they can't get out of the pool.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. On that bombshell, it's time to introduce this week's topic, which you've probably already guessed, is light heavyweights. I think I said it in the intro, actually, so you don't
Yeah.
need to guess. But yeah, the 175 pounders, incredibly exciting division. And you're right on the cusp of that world scene now, particularly if you win the European title. I think it guarantees you a top 15 rating with the WBC. You're already...
I'm already like.
Go on, you say it.
I think I'm like number 9 in the WBC.
Yeah, so you're already-
I'm number 2 WBA, IBF. I think I'm like 7 or 6. Like most of them, apart from the WBO, I think I'm just outside. Like maybe 12 with the WBO, but most of them.
It's because you're not promoted by Warren.
Yeah, do you know, exactly. Listen, we won't get
Just
into that,
joking,
but
Frank.
Yeah, no, we're not Frank. But get me in that top 10. But yeah, and I think I'm even the Ring magazine. I think I'm just got into the top 10 as well. So yeah, man.
So you must have a keen eye on those top fighters. I mean, you spar some of them anyway. We talked about that. You've obviously done stuff with Buatsi before. You spar Beterbiev.
Beterviev,
I'm going to
yeah.
catch myself every time. So how much do you look at what they're up to, and who do you rate as top of the tree? Because you've got Beterbiev and you've got Bivol.
Yeah.
And they're both, I think no one would question they're the top two. And
Yeah.
spoiler alert, Josh Green rates them in his top two when we
Yeah.
get to the green room. Who's superior for you?
Yeah, for me, I think, yeah, if anyone's gonna beat Beterbiev, it's Bivol, and yeah, I think if anyone's gonna beat Bivol, it would be Beterbiev. So them two, do you know what I mean? Yeah,
You just agreed with me.
Yeah, literally, yeah. That is.
But if you had to pick, if it was your last pound,
I'd go with Arthur. Yeah, that guy hits incredibly hard. But listen, you can't. If you can't get someone, then how? Doesn't matter how hard you hit. And Bivol's got good defense, good feet. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it'll be an interesting fight and a good one.
and you clearly want to mix with the best people in your division. So you kind of hoping, because they're not young, it's fair to say, and you know they've been at the weight for a long time as well. Are you kind of hoping that Bivol and Beterbiev still around when it's your turn for the world title shots?
It depends. It depends. Oh, let me just be honest now. I don't. No, of course. Listen, I've said it all. I've said it all the time. Like, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. So if they're still around and they're the people I have to prove, like to the world, to myself, whatever, that that's who I have to beat. Then that's who I have to beat, and it'll be good. With me, I think it's just really good. But like the British scene, we've got a lot of good people, and I think obviously the audience and the people who watch, like, they can relate more to it, like, if you know what I mean, like if someone like me and Yarde were fighting, or me and Lyndon, or me and Craig, or me and Buatsi, any of the, like, it's more relatable, and people will get involved in it a bit more. So I like the fact that we've got a really hot division, and I really want to, like, everyone to just mix it up and just fight. I think that will just go down in history, like, this era was really, really good. Like, just like how you had the Watson, Ben, and Eubank. That's just three people.
Yeah.
We've got Callum Smith, Buatsi, myself, Craig, Lyndon. I'd even still put Shaq
Yarde.
in there, Yarde, and that's like 7. Like, do you know what I mean? So that's what in my head I really would love to, like, emulate, like a light heavyweight version of, like, the Eubank, Watson and thing, because you always remember it, man. That's what's, it's about history.
We need a few more of you to get with the same promoter. I think that'd help.
Yeah.
Same broadcaster.
Well, look, Boxer's working with DAZN. Boxer works
On Eubank Smith, yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So hopefully it can get done, man.
Is there anybody on the domestic scene that would be quite awkward for you to fight?
Great question.
What do you mean, as in?
Not stylistically, personally.
Personally.
No, not really. Like, probably the closest person I am with is Buatsi. We've been sparring nearly 10 years now. Like,
And you happen to be the WBA number one, number
and
two.
he's number 2. Like, we just sparred the other day, but it's a thing of, like, look, if if we have to fight, like we would fight. He's a dog, and so am I. Like, do you know what I mean? And if it makes sense, like let's do it, man. He wouldn't shy away from it, and neither would I. Like, he's a great boxer, and I'm sure the fans would love it. I'm sure the fans would pay to watch us bloody spar. Like, sometimes, like I'll crack him, and he goes mad and just unloads. You know what I mean? And it's very entertaining, but. Friends fight, man. It is what it is, man. So, but yeah, that would probably be the like most you know, because I've known him for so long. We've been sparring since the amateurs, and if I'll be honest, him, Dwayne Sinclair, that bunch, like they've helped in my development as a boxer as well. Like they were really, really good amateurs coming up when I started. I was pants, man, and I learned so much from them. Spar them, like. I remember when I fought Charlie Duffield, and my last spar was Dwayne and Buatsi, and bloody hell, that they gave me a beating. And I remember thinking, I don't think I'm ready for this fight. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they literally tag teamed me, like, you know, as if they were the Hardy brothers, like, but that was probably one of my best performances, and like, you know, like they helped me come on a lot, man. So yeah.
Feel free to keep the WWE/WWF references coming.
On,
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. Unabashed.
Yeah.
When you talk about that domestic scene, does it kind of baffle you? Well, maybe not baffle you because you know the reasons, but is it surprising in a way that Buatsi hasn't had a world title shot yet? Yarde's coming up to 2 world title shots. Craig's had a world title shot. Yeah. Buatsi's arguably came out the Olympics with like the biggest profile and hasn't had a world title shot yet.
Yeah, a little bit. It is. I'm surprised he hasn't fought as regularly as certain other fighters as well, but you know, everyone has their reasons. But Yarde, obviously he's got the he's actually doing brilliant, because I don't know how he's got 2, you know, world title shots, like, and not that he hasn't fought anybody, but do you know what I mean? They're doing a good job in it. So it does surprise me. And then you look at Buatsi, he hasn't had one yet, but I'm sure he's probably next in line. Like you said, he's #1 for the WBA, so arguably he should be next in line to fight for the title. I have a feeling that maybe they're talking about Bivol going to 168 to fight Canelo again, and maybe that belt will be vacant, and then I can see maybe Buatsi fighting for it or something.
Against you,
yeah,
isn't it?
one on 2. See, that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Good stuff. Well, it is a buzzing division, and to hear a bit more about it and to list his own top 5, we go over to the green room with our man, Lean Josh Green.
Today of running through my top 5 light heavyweights from the world of boxing today. But before we get on with the top 5, I will give a couple of honourable mentions, and they go to Jean Pascal and Zurdo Ramirez. Pascal, out of the ring, only had 1 fight in the last 3 years, so he would have been on the list otherwise, but unfortunately inactivity harming him in this case. We'll get on now with number 5, and that is Joshua Buatsi. The only reason why Buatsi isn't a little bit higher in this list is he hasn't really had that step up to world championship, world title level. He's fought some excellent fighters over his career, unbeaten of course, but not had that fight that really pushes him. And Maxim Vlasov was supposed to be that fight, but unfortunately that was cancelled and we didn't get to see it. Hopefully in 2023 it'll be the year for Buatsi and we can finally see him become a world champion. In number 4, I've got Joe Smith Jr, a man that's been right at the top of this division for many, many years now, 33 years of age. He's been a world champion, lost out to Dmitry Bivol in his first crack at a world title, but came back against Vlasov, who I previously mentioned, and won. He's got a couple of defeats on his record now, but certainly a top 5 light heavyweight fighter in the scene at the moment. In number 3, we've got Callum Smith, part of the Smith dynasty over here in the UK, of course. Been a real force at super middleweight for many, many years, but that step up to light heavyweight, and he seems to be adapting with ease. He's only fought twice there, of course, but both knockout wins and both emphatic as well. 2nd and 3rd round. The first being at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium over Lenin Castillo, who's fought most of the names on this list, it would have to be said. A very capable fighter, but not quite at the level of the fighters on this list. And the second coming over in the Middle East on an Anthony Joshua undercard. There's plenty to do for Callum Smith in 2023, and if he is to fight any of the champions or any of the top names, I think they really could be fireworks. In number 2, and it's hard to split the top 2, is Artur Beterbiev. Nearly got that one wrong. Unbeaten, every single win coming by KO. The only criticism you would have to say is he didn't turn over until he was 27 years of age. For many, that would be a stumbling block, but still at 37 years of age, he seems to be firing out the fantastic performances and the fantastic results. The reason why he turned over late is he had an absolutely sparkling amateur career. Gold medals in the European and World Championships, competed in 2 Olympics as well. And when you're that good at the amateur level, I think it's always going to transfer over well to the pro game. And it certainly has with Beterbiev. Holds 3 of the belts, unbeaten, with a KO coming in every single one of his fights. He's got Anthony Yarde in a couple of weeks. We'll see if he can add another to the list. And coming in at number 1, it's Dimitri Bivol. It couldn't be anybody else. After that win against Canelo, he was really elevated into stardom. Before that, he'd got the win over Craig Richards over here in the UK. I think that's when lots of people started to pay attention to him on the UK scene. Richards put up a really good performance in that fight, but since gone on to get that win over Canelo, and although some predicted it, he was a significant underdog in that fight, and we now hope we can see Bivol, Beterbiev, or any of the other names on this list, and there's some fantastic fights for Dimitri Bivol to come up and see if he can hold on to that number 1 spot and collect a few more titles in 2023. Thank you very much, and back to Danny and Georgia.
Cheers, Josh. I see your bed doesn't make an appearance in the background anymore. I think that's probably because of the bullying.
It's New Year, it's new Josh.
I want to apologise. Don't take me to court. Josh mentioned there about the big fight coming up next week between Beterbiev and Yarde. God, I hate myself. I hate you, but I hate myself more.
Man. You're doing all right.
Thanks. Huge fight, obviously second opportunity for Yarde.
Yeah.
But it does seem, certainly to me from the outside, like a more difficult opportunity than the first one. Mm-hmm. Kovalev was at a certain stage of his career. We've seen he's since moved up to cruiserweight. Doesn't look like he's pulling up any trees there. Yeah. And Yarde came very close to pulling it off. Beterbiev doesn't look like he's got many flaws in his game, and he seems around his peak as well. What can Yarde do to win the fight?
I think he carries the power. But again, yeah, there's not a lot of flaws in for me in Beterviev's game. And one thing, forget about even just the flaws and whatnot. Obviously, being around him, he's someone who takes any opposition, whether he's the favourite and everyone thinks he's gonna walk through someone. He takes every opposition very serious, and that's why I think it's gonna be very, very hard. And like you said, when Yarde fought Kovalev, he was at a different stage in his career. Speaking to Arthur, personally, I know what he's trying to achieve, what he's what he wants to go on and do. And yeah,
what is that? Is that unifying the division or
Usyk?
Really?
Yeah, he likes.
Because we've heard talks about it, but he genuinely.
He might not be big enough, but he definitely hits enough to be a cruiserweight. So yeah, but obviously you'd like to have all the belts, do you know what I mean? And for him, I know, speaking to his coaches and stuff like that, Yarde is that person that could be the stumbling block, and he just he doesn't want no room for that. So I remember being there and watching him getting ready for Joe Smith, and they're so meticulous in how they prepare. It's not just we just go in there and you're like, wow. And a lot of the things that I saw him practicing in training, he done it to a T within a couple of seconds. I'm like, wow, do you know what I mean? So
what did he say to you about Usyk?
Yeah, he was just a bit pissed off that he lost it twice, and he would love to get his own back.
Still, that must have been so long ago as well.
Yeah. And I think he's like, he said he was a bit pissed off because he was like, in Russia, like there's, well, in every country there's like politics, like in the boxing and stuff. So he essentially wanted to do like light heavy, but because of the politics, they made him go up a weight. So yeah. He didn't really want to be a cruiserweight anyway, and then every time, I think Ace, he told me every time he fought Usyk, he dropped him, but he just could never get the decision. I think he beat him once and then lost twice, or I can't remember. He might have lost all times, but he dropped him every single time. So yeah,
these top amateurs really hold beef for a long time. Like Carissa Shields with Savannah Marshall, do you know what I mean?
Would
They
you
don't
not?
forget Groves and DeGale as well.
Yeah.
Would you not though?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to envisage me being a good boxer for a start, but if you can move past that barrier.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I've still got like people that I lost to in the amateurs, and I feel like, I'd love to fight.
Tinker.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I was so geared up.
Were you ringing up the board like, just clear him, he's fine.
I'd just love to smash him. Like, even like my first fight, I always talk about it. Like my first amateur fight, I got knocked out like in the first 30 seconds. I swear to you. And I would love to like even
Go
just
back.
spar
What's his
that
name?
guy.
What's his name?
I can't even remember. But, like, I'm surprised he hasn't.
You're not going to spar him, are you, if you don't even remember his
but
name?
I'm surprised he ain't come out and be like, I knocked that guy out. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, it's an ego thing as well. Boxing is like an ego like driven sport. Like it's about I'm better than you, and do you know what I mean? And it's not nice knowing someone's got a knockout over you. Do you know what I mean?
That's what a lot of the build up last time was, wasn't it? It was how you guys had a little.
Yeah, exactly. Like even me and Sterling.
Sorry, I was doing this with my hands. My hands were in my hood.
Like me and Sterling.
If you say so.
we had like a little beef. Like obviously we're from the same area, train at the same gym. He's got sparring stories and stuff. So it's all like that's what builds up like a fight. Do you know what I mean? Look at these YouTube fights and stuff like that. Like everyone's getting invested in them because there's like a bit of a story and stuff. But I think maybe we need a bit more of that in boxing.
Have you seen any of the YouTubers where you think they're actually quite decent? They could maybe make a proper boxer.
Yeah, Jake Paul. I think I watched him. Like he could be a decent like boxer. Like I've seen him. He looks like he's actually trying. But yeah, the rest, no. I'm not gonna lie.
And with Beterbiev, even when you've sparred him or when you've been outside and other guys have sparred him like Bolotniks and the others, is there anything you can pick out that particularly troubles him? Any patterns, anything at all that you think that could be a weak point?
Yeah,
You're not going to say, are you?
I know what to say, but yeah, come on, we're all humans. Everyone's got weaknesses. It's just whether you can exploit them. Do you know what I mean? No one's perfect, man. Everyone's got some sort of weakness, and yeah, it's just about if whoever's you're fighting can exploit it and use it to their advantage.
Beterbiev, Yarde, Georgia. Who would you fancy?
Yeah, what fashion? I'd love to know. Knockout.
I don't think it's
like not what when how long do you think like what
7?
7?
I feel like 7's always like a nice.
Yeah.
You have a little warm up and then you just like
What about you, Danny? Like.
Yeah, I think Beterbiev, but maybe a bit later.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think Yarde could have some success early on.
Yeah, I think so as well. I feel like early on he can be successful, and the way he may stand a chance is if he capitalises on him being successful, which I really think is going to be hard. Like, I don't think it's an impossible job. Like, he's big enough, like, do you know what I mean? He hits hard enough, and, and also it'd be I'd like him to win, because imagine we'd have all the belts in England, like, do you know what I mean? But yeah, let's see how it goes, man.
All except Bivol belt, of course.
Yeah. But at least we have...
Which you're the main contender for as well.
So
you have to go and get that for England.
I'll try.
It's your responsibility, mate. Sorry.
Just for you.
Yeah, if you could. Bring it back to the podcast.
What about you?
Well, I said, didn't I? Oh, have I got to pick a round?
Yeah. See, he always does it. He asks everybody else, and he's like, I'm just going to present
No, because Dan asked me, and I said Beterbiev, and a bit later, round 9.
Okay, nice.
Right. Sorry, AY. Sorry, Tunde. Don't call me, please. That's obviously a huge fight coming up in about a week and a half as we film this, but there's a big fight this weekend as well, and we'd be remiss of me not to mention that. You've got Chris Eubank Jr. going up against Liam Smith. I wrote an article for the SecondsOut website earlier today, cheap plug, saying that whoever wins, it will be their best win, because they're both kind of known or elevated by the people they've been defeated by. You know, Liam Smith's been in with Canelo, Jamie Munguia. Eubank's lost to Billy Joe Saunders, George Groves, all world champions. Eubank claims he's a former world champion. You know, it depends how you look at it. IBO, WBA interim.
So if I bring that IBO, out, you're not going to rate.
No, WBA only. I've set my stall out now. I can't ride back on it. Liam Smith is a former world champion quite a while ago now, but WBO weight below. It's a very intriguing fight, I think. What do you make of it?
Well, the Smith that's fighting anyway, he's my favourite Smith. I like him. He's got balls, his game, like, do you know what I mean? I like him. I like his attitude. But I don't know. I think Eubank might just be a bit too saucy for him. Yeah, like it's like I get what Eubank says when he says, you know, you're an ABC fighter. Like, it might sound disrespectful, but it's not really. I take it as like he's got the foundations very well. Like, do you know what I mean? And sometimes that's all you need to be, like an ABC 1, 2, 3. As long as you got it to a T, look how far it's got him. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I think it'll be a very good fight. I don't think Eubank stops Smith, and I don't think Smith stops Eubank. But I might give the edge to Eubank. Yeah.
And he's brought in a US Hall of Fame boxer into his team, just like you have.
And it's just that little bit of sauce, that's what I think gives him the edge. But I don't know, I like Smith, man, especially in that Fowler fight, man. Like, cause the first couple of rounds, he was kind of getting teed off on, and it was like, yep, all right, no problem, keep coming, yeah. And he's just like, I love people who can just really like switch it around. And
he seemed really insulted that people were making it a 50-50 and people thought Fowler was on his level. Yeah. Because Fowler had never fought anywhere near world class, and he was obviously a former world champion.
And he showed it, and I like boxers who can break a fighter. Do you know what I mean? Not like, it's all good, yeah, I'm way technically better than you and I can do, but I love someone who can like break someone's will. Those are my kind of fighters, and he displayed that against Fowler, and I became a real big fan. Like, do you know what I mean? Especially someone who's like an up and coming, who's hungry. For you to do that to a younger fighter, I thought, yeah, wicked. I like him, man. I can't wait to watch the fight.
Georgia, who's your favourite Smith?
Beefy.
Yeah.
He's how do I say it? He's the most kind of like people friendly, I'd say. You look like if you were drunk on a night out, you could ask him to put you in a taxi and you'd get home safe. Do you know what I mean? Not that the others wouldn't, but he's like a proper people's champion. That's the word I was looking for. Wow. Not stick you in a taxi, get you home safe.
You know, the whole of Liverpool get behind him.
Yeah, definitely.
So. Fancy him to win?
I'm going to agree with Dan. Yeah. Pretty much every aspect of what you said. I do think Eubank just has that little bit of, it's as you said, it's like a sauce. Yeah. I can't pin what it is. Yeah. But I would love to see Liam win.
I think Beefy will make it exciting.
Yeah.
I don't think Eubank will necessarily go looking for a tear up, but I think Beefy will force him to exchange, and that'll make it a more exciting fight. But I don't think he wins.
Sad feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
I don't like it when people lose.
Yes.
I'm in the wrong
So you're hoping for a draw? Bet on the draw. It's always good odds.
I wouldn't put it past that. You know, actually a draw. Like, I could see like Eubank actually winning, but they maybe give it a draw or something. I don't know, but we'll see.
That'd be a good night though.
Yeah.
So a couple of big fights to look forward to, and we've had a chance to speak to some of the combatants in the build-up. So you got. First of all, Eubank Jr. talking about his fight with Liam Smith, and then Anthony Yarde talking about the huge challenge ahead of him against Artur Beterbiev.
Are you still the bad guy?
You tell me. I'm the same guy.
You tell me. Are you the bad guy?
I'm the same guy. I'm the same guy I was leading up to that fight. Nothing's changed, you know. So, you know, I was going to get booed into that arena. I know that. Now it'll probably be different, but you know, am I going to get booed into the Smith fight? I don't know. We'll find out.
It's destiny. You know, you can do all the talking in the world, it's something I learned as well, because before the Kovalev fight, I was saying, yeah, I'm going to knock him out and do these kind of things for entertainment purposes. But now I'm a lot more like, I'm just zen. Like, I'm just so like calm, because you just got to handle business. And I feel like the only thing I could talk about are things that I've done now to this point. And that's, no one's got the heart that I've got. No one's got the balls that I've got. Like, there's so much people that protect their stuff, and they're not real they're fighters, but mentally they haven't got that thing. Like everything's about, you know, maybe roots and making sure it's all perfect and wait until there's a vacant title. You don't want to fight that guy. That guy's a monster. That guy's got 18 fights, 18 knockouts, 18 wins. He's an Olympic. He's been Olympics. He's done this. He's got all the experience in the world. Like, he's Russian. He's made of iron, and I don't want to fight that guy. Bring him. I want to fight that guy. That's how I want to do it. Because 50 Cent said it. Joy wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for pain. Death's got to be easy because life is hard.
So good to hear from those guys. They both seem fight ready, although obviously Yarde's got to wait a little bit longer. So we asked our audience on social media. George has not got a phone.
Not got my phone.
So we asked our audience on social media who is the best light heavyweight in the world, and the options were, was it Yarde, Beterbiev, not Yarde, sorry.
Bivol.
Beterbiev, Bivol, other, and name who in the comments.
Yeah, so 79% voted Bivol.
Wow.
16 Beterbiev, 5% other.
So Dan basically they're saying,
And
you don't know shit about boxing.
And the others were Craig Richards, Joshua Buatsi, and then somebody put you. And I'm thinking,
You.
I've got 15 kg before I make light heavy.
Horrible, isn't it?
I just thought it was a bit rude. But yeah, that's who I got.
No explanations for why they picked any of those, especially the you one, obviously.
It was you, love heart eyes, laughing face. So
Brilliant.
I don't know. But yeah, no, Craig Richards.
I always
Joshua
find the
Buatsi.
best way to a woman's heart is to overestimate her weight. Yeah, it works every time. Do
Ask
that.
Uncle T.
Oh, taking the beef on camera. Love it. We also asked our audience for some questions for Super Dan Azeez,
Okay.
which I will just bring
Wonder
up
if you've
now.
got some juicy ones.
I think Georgia might have a juicy one that she might or might not be willing to talk about.
Not on
After
camera.
I've gone through the official ones. Let me just find
I'm
it.
nervous about that now. And that's
Oh,
off,
yeah,
that's off
it's,
camera as well.
So first of all, Jamie Murphy says, are you going to win a world title by the end of 2024?
Oh, that's a good question. Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully I'm ready enough, but I'm, from the start of my career, everything's step by step. It's not about rushing or whatever. One thing, again, keep harping on about Arthur, but when I was out there, he was like, look, listen, I was a bloody prospect when I was 30-something. Like, don't stress about your age, man. Just keep doing your thing as long as you feel good. I'm nearly 40 and I feel like the best ever. And that is good because a lot of the time, outsiders, the media or whatever, you're not the youngest. But I feel good, man. Like, leave me. Like,
And he's had like a million amateur fights as well.
Do you know what I mean?
So you're
Exactly,
fresh.
Exactly. So you get people who turn over quite young and by 30 they're done because they've got the mileage. I feel good. Like, I feel like I still got a lot to learn and improve on. So yeah, man.
Well, look at Joe Joyce.
Yeah, exactly.
Started late in hard fights, and
Exactly.
he
look
still
at him,
looks
he-
good.
He
Yeah.
looks like he's just getting better and better. So I try not to think about that and just, even if it comes to, look, I'm 36 and that's when I get my world title shot, then so be it. I'm not trying to rush. I want to make sure whatever level I'm at, I belong there. And that's why I've taken each step. I didn't start off thinking, I'm going to win every single belt, but it was just, that was the appropriate thing to do, Southern area, get onto the English, and every level I've been at, I've been comfortable at and I belong there. I don't want to get onto world stage because there is no going back. And then it's like, you're just missing that little bit. And we've seen that with a lot of people. Yarde against Kovalev, Craig against Bivol, because they're not out of the league, but there's just something missing. And I just want to, when I'm there, it is what it is. I'm there. Like, there's nothing really missing. Do you get it?
Yeah. Do you feel like you've been overlooked in the scene?
Yeah. At the beginning, it used to piss me off. I'm not even gonna lie. Before I won the British, they would always like say the names, and I'll be like, what about me? Like, I've got the Southern, I've got the English, I'm undefeated. I'll never say my name. Like, and as much as, some people be like, I don't care, just keep doing your thing. But again, this is an ego-driven sport. Like, I'm like, come on, I'm fighting names, I'm fighting undefeated people, and no one's recognizing me. And then obviously after the Hosea fight, yes, that's when, Dan is part of that big domestic scene. And since then, I don't think I have been really overlooked. But I still do think every time when I'm fighting, it's like, is Dan ready for that next scene? That next step. Like, you get Matthew Macklin. Shouts out to Matthew Macklin. I like him. But he would always, like, even in the fight against Fielding, he's like, I don't know if Dan's ready for like the likes of Craig or this, that. And I'm like, what do I have to do? Or like, he's like, Fielding's been there, done that. Like, I don't know if Dan's ready, but it's good. It's a drive. It makes me have to like prove myself, and it makes me work that extra hard. So, yeah.
And you did say when I invited you on the podcast, now I feel like I've made it.
Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? Because listen, Danny, would be at shows, and he would go and interview everyone, and he wouldn't even look at me like.
Is that why you cancelled? Really?
No.
I want the first time.
And I'm being so serious. I'll be like, Danny doesn't even interview me. Like, I'm definitely no one, but I'll be like, don't worry. I keep building myself, and he'll invite me on one day.
Must have been a long time ago if I was at shows.
So, yeah.
I was going to say Danny doesn't even work weekends anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I've got big time now. Reese Morrill says, was it disheartening pinging Hosea Burton's head off and him still sticking in there? It was a class fight.
Disheartening for who? For me,
The fact that you were dishing out the punishment and he wasn't going.
No, man, I rated Hosea, man. This is a former ABA champion, former British champion. Like, he's good, he's solid. Like, I didn't even think, I didn't go in there thinking, I'm going to knock this guy out. So, like, for as long as he stayed there, like, all respect to him. And, I respect every fighter that gets in there with me. I believe they train just as hard as me. So, no, not at all.
Harry Artlett says, what's the fight you've learned the most from? And maybe it'd be a spar as well.
What's the fight I've learned? Well, spars, I always learn something all the time. Fight, I'm trying to think. I learn in fights as well, I learn something all the time. Sometimes it's just be a bit more patient. Don't be too patient. Don't go out looking for the knockout. When you've got someone, go for it. Like, there's always something. Every time when I fight, I'm like, the next fight, I got to do this. And I'm always learning. And that's what makes me feel fresh. Like, I don't think I'm nowhere near, like, the finished article. So that's why I feel like even Buddy's always like, Dan, we got so much to work on. And I'm like, bloody hell, like, am I that crap? Like,
Is that right after you've won as well?
I swear, like as soon as I've won my last fight, I was like, Buddy, I'm just gonna go on holiday. I need a rest, and he's like, mate, we need to get back in the gym, man. We got shit to work on, and da-da-da-da. I'm like,
it's quite a good impression, to be fair. It sounded a bit like him. No, seriously.
So, man, but I like that because he's not looking at me thinking, I'm happy that he can see a lot that I can improve on, and he rates me like, well, boy, for what you've done so far, like, wow, good stuff, man. Like, if we can add on, you're going to be something else, and I feel good when he says that.
Good. Andy White, last one here. He says, why boxing when you could earn a living from being an accountant? Because you've got a master's degree, of course.
I've got a master's degree in finance, accounting and finance. I don't know, man. Actually, I do, because when I used to box in uni, it was like, obviously you have your stresses and whatnot, but boxing for some reason was the only thing that when I'm boxing, everything else I'm not thinking about. So it was like what do you call it? Like, I don't know, like
a calling.
Like, not a calling, but
vocation.
Yeah, like I just didn't think about no stresses, and so I got addicted to it. Like,
so it's like an escape kind of thing.
Yes, that's the word. Yeah, escape. So if I'm bothered about like maybe my schoolwork or just any stress from in the world or whatnot, I'll go to the gym, hitting the bag, and it will just be gone. I won't think about it. So I started getting addicted to it. Like, it was like my escape. I started getting good at it and stuff. So yeah, and then after uni, I joined the financial advising company. And yeah, I just used to I was putting a lot of hours into boxing. I was thinking, look, let me try this. Like, I don't want to get to a certain age and I'm like, I could have, or why didn't I? So yeah, just
because you could always go back to that, couldn't you, if you wanted
do you
to?
know what I mean? And I just packed it in and said, yeah, let me just give 100% and see how far I go. And yeah.
How did your employers react? Like, were they surprised?
What's funny? When I had the interview, she looked me up and she could see some boxing stuff. Like, all right, like, got to the finals of the AB, and she was like, if we hire you, like, she was like, oh, you're a lovely guy and whatnot. You've got all the skills that we require and stuff. But promise me, if we hire you, you're not gonna say you're gonna leave for boxing. I was like, nah.
Are they allowed to do that?
No, that's what because she didn't want to hire me, and then
but are you allowed to like Google people that you're interviewing?
I think everyone does, don't they?
Do they?
Like,
or at least look at their LinkedIn,
Yeah, or she might have
personal,
maybe
isn't
my
it?
CV, because I probably put like, amateur
yeah.
boxing and stuff. So, and she was like, yeah, you was quite decent, but promise me you won't leave us and tell us, like, you're going to do boxing.
Guilt trip you into a job.
I mean? I was like, nah, don't worry. I really just want to work. That's just a hobby. Then a year and a half or something. I was like, yeah, I'm packing it in. She was like, I knew it. I could tell that it's in your heart. But good luck, and they still follow my journey, and I'm well proud of how far I've.
Do they come to any of your fights?
Yeah, of course they do, man. All the time, man. So yeah, they see me on Sky Sports, and they're like, they're just well chuffed. So yeah.
Great. Now, any more questions for Dan before we move to the hot seat, Georgia?
No.
No? Sure?
Yeah.
All right then. So yeah, when we come back, Dan will be making his way to the hot seat where Georgia will be firing the questions, and we'll see how he copes with that sort of pressure.
You know shit about boxing.
So this game is called The Worst People in the World. Are you ready?
Okay, yeah, let's go.
So, people who drop their gum shields and put it back in their mouth without washing it, or people who don't wash their wraps?
Yeah, definitely don't wash the wraps because they stink.
People who miss the spit bucket, or people who kiss their dog on the mouth?
Dog in the mouth. I have a feeling Danny does that.
People who leave their dirty training clothes in their car,
Yeah.
or people who always comment on your weight when you're about to get on the scales or off the scales?
Probably dirty clothes in a car, yeah.
People who eat with their mouths open, or people who cough and sneeze on you?
Cough and sneeze.
Opponents whose breath smells, or opponents who laugh and smile at you mid-fight?
I've never fought someone in their breath smells.
No, like head-to-heads and stuff.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've ever experienced that. But yeah, smiling and, what was it, smiling and?
Like laughing mid-fight.
Laughing, that's a bit creepy, and yeah, that's probably the worst, yeah.
People who don't use deodorant, or people that phlegm in the sink?
People who don't use deodorant.
People who constantly talk about food while you're in camp, or
Yeah,
people
that already. Yeah, that already.
or people that only talk to you when you have a fight coming up.
Nah, food. Look, this guy does it all the time.
The media that use you for clout,
Yeah.
or media that try to create problems between you and other fighters that don't exist?
Yeah, try to create problems.
Ellis Sorrow,
Yes. So we're doing this.
or Denzel Bentley, because I've done it to both of them.
Denzel, yeah, Denzel. I annoy Denzel more, so let me at least, yeah.
To be fair, I think he said you.
Yeah.
If you could change one thing about boxing, what would it be?
Probably when you lose, it's not the end. It's not the end of your career, and like how the UFC is. Everyone just fights everyone. A loss isn't detrimental. That would be good.
Nice. Well done. You survived.
Was that all right?
Wasn't
yeah.
that bad, was it?
Yeah.
shit about boxing.
Well, that was brutal in the hot seat. Wow. I'm still cooling down. Luckily, it's -4, so it won't take too long. Really appreciate you all watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Georgia, always a pleasure. And Dan, absolute honour to have you here. I hope you do become that history maker that you want to be and win all those titles.
Will you come on again?
No, of course.
You won't air us.
Thank you for having me on.
Only with the WBA belt.
Like I said, before I couldn't get an interview with Danny, and now
Let's not go on about it, mate. We're all friends now.
Hold on to it.
You know what I mean?
We made up. It's fine.
But yeah, no, thank you for having me, man. It's a pleasure, and hopefully I can come in with all my belts. Next time I should have brought all the English, Southern area, British, Commonwealth.
When I did an interview with you last year, I was like, go get your belt, and you were like, huh? I was like, yeah, go get it.
And get it?
Yeah, I made you sit with it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So next time, I'm gonna have them all here.
We'll need a bigger table.
You don't.
Brilliant. Really appreciate it. And yeah, thanks all for watching. We'll see you in episode 22. Yo, Danny Flexen here. Think you know shit about boxing? There's only one way to find out. Listen to the full podcast via one of the links in the description or go to secondsoutboxing.podbean.com.
Do you know shit about boxing?